So welcome back to my Back to Basics series. Today is episode 2, which will be covering the eye brushes. And today I'm going to be showing you how I apply my eye makeup usually, and going to be demonstrating what each and every brush does. So without further ado, let's get started. Now the first set of brushes I'm showing you are flat shader brushes. So the more condensed the bristles are, the more color payoff you're going to get. So this is usually the first brush I would work with just to neutralize my entire eyelid. Now to achieve that iconic smoky eye, everyone needs a set of blending brushes. Now the ones I'm showing you here are varying in size, and they're all from Sigma Makeup. These brushes are typically used so then you can smoke out the crease with a transitioning color. Now these brushes are typically called pencil brushes, and the reason why they're called pencil brushes is because the brush tip actually has a little bit of a point to it, and these brushes achieve that richness that you would like in the smoky eye. Now these two brushes you won't actually see me use in the video because they're going to be used in a different video in detail, but these are the two brushes I would typically use for my gel eyeliners. Now these last two brushes are self-explanatory. They're small detailed brushes. Now I would use these for my lower lash line just because my lower lash line is pretty small, and these brushes are just conveniently small as well. Okay, so first and foremost, I already did my face, I already primed my eyes just to get this video going. Just for you guys and your information, I'm going to be using two palettes today, a mixture of two palettes, one being the Tarte Tartlet, and my second favorite is of course Urban Decay Naked 3. The pink undertones just seems to agree with my skin tone, so that's why I'm going to be using them, that palette today. But to start off, what I'm going to be doing is, like I already said, my eyes are already primed. So the very first brush that I'm going to be using is a flat brush, and the flat brush I'm going to be using is from Sephora, and this brush is, yes dogs, please just interrupt me in the middle of my filming. Okay, so the flat brush that I'm going to be using is from Sephora Professional line, and this is the concealer brush, but even though I use it as a flat brush for shadows, this is Concealer 45. And I already showed you this in a close-up earlier. And what I'm going to be taking is the color Super Mom, and I'm going to be loading that up on my brush. I'm just going to look down here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover my entire eyelid with this, just to kind of neutralize any colors that are on my eyelids right now, like any blue undertones, my veins, or the fact that I don't sleep because I'm a mama, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye as well. And I'm not like concentrating the color, guys. I'm just lightly dusting my eyelids with it just to get a neutral palette color here, so then all the colors are even when I start to layer. Okay, so now that that's done, the next color I'm going to be taking is actually a taupey brown color. Now this is going to be my smoke out color, and what I'm going to be taking is a fluffy brush, and this is from Sigma E40 Tapered blending brush, and I'm going to be taking a mixture of Force of Nature and Wanderer, and I'm going to look for the lining of my eye socket. So this is what they call the crease. Okay, so when I open my eyes, you can kind of see the crease right up here. So it's where the socket meets with my eyeball. I know that looks really creepy. Okay, so you're just gonna find that crease, and I'm just going to lightly dust it. Now this is called a transition color for me. Okay, so this is the first layer that I'm going to be putting on for color, and this adds to the depth of the light smoky eye I'm going to be doing. So I'm gonna pick up more color, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just practice makes perfect, and have fun with your eyes and experiment and poke around, you know, just don't hurt yourself. Okay, so after I completed my transition color, the next thing I'm gonna do is work on my outer V. So the outer V is simply making that V shape at the end of the eye and connecting it with your crease color. Now the way to do this is usually, well, I would usually use a pencil brush because the more compact it is, the more color concentration I'm going to get out of the brush, right? You already know that's from video 1, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna be using my Naked 3 palette now, and I'm going to be grabbing a mixture of Nooner and Factory. And these are kind of still along the taupey brown colors that I want to keep going with my smoky eye here. So I'm just going to close one eye, and I'm going to lightly dust the corner of my eye here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually concentrating on the outer corner. I'm just kind of dabbing it, dab, 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 and then I'm going to lightly drag it upwards and following the shape of my V. Okay, so now you can actually see that there's a V shape that's forming here. Sorry for my false lashes, they're kind of in the way. So I started here around the midline of my lash line, and I dabbed outwards along the lash line, kind of made a V shape upwards, and then came back and concentrated it in the crease. Now this is how you get your smoky eye. If you left it like this, it'd be really, really blunt. Like you can see the line of where the color was applied, and that's not a very good smoky eye. At least in my professional opinion. It has to be seamless. It has to look like there are just one color gradually smoking out, and that's the point of a smoky eye. So if you can see that the person used like 3 or 4 colors in their eyes, then they're obviously not blending enough. So if you can see the lines, keep blending. It's not gonna get any worse. And if it does, just wipe it off and start over, unfortunately. So I'm gonna take a mixture of Nooner and Factory again, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. So now that I checked if both sides are even, which to me they look pretty even, I'm gonna go back with my blender brush. I'm gonna take that, I'm just going to lightly fluff out or blend that line on the upper crease. Now this is what makes it really, really smoky, okay? So that's what it should look like for now. I'm gonna add a little more depth. Now this is optional, this is completely up to you. You can leave your smoky eye like this for the rest of the day, and it's perfectly fine for daytime. Now let's say if I wanted to go out with my girls. And this time I'm gonna go back into my Tarte Lip palette. So I'm looking at a deeper, rich chocolate color mixed with a plummy purple. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it along my lash line and to my outer V, and a little bit into the crease. This time I'm not gonna be dragging it inward because I wanna keep that smokiness. Okay, so now you can really see that there is a depth in that V, and the transition is really smooth. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that color a little bit more because that's not dark enough for me. Like I said, this is like a night out, okay? This is usually what I do. So I'm gonna do the same to the other eye now. Like this is done, okay? But the smoky eye itself is not done. If you really want to have a good quality smoky eye, you're gonna be working with about 3 to 5 different colors. Okay, so now, just to complete the smokiness, I'm gonna go back in with my E40, and I'm just going to blur out the inside part of my crease where the color I just applied meets with my transition color, and I'm just going to blend out the ends of it. So now that that's done, this is a perfectly fine smoky eye. Like I've gone out shopping and all that stuff with just a smoky eye like this, and it looks fantastic. But if you want to amp it up a little bit, I always put a little bit of shimmer on the middle of my eyelids just to attract more light and to attract more attention to my eyes. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm taking a loose pigment. This is completely optional. This is called Naked, and this is from MAC. So I'm just gonna dip my ring finger into it, and I'm just going to lightly, just like this. Okay, just right on the center. of my lids, and I'm going to pat it out, or inwards, I guess. It's like a little hint of iridescence, and you're like, what's that on her eyes? I want a little bit of that. So now you know. It's from MAC, loose pigment. It's called Naked. Now for a highlight, this is also optional. You don't have to do this. But I'm going to take another flat brush. I'm going to be taking Free Spirit, and I'm going to lightly highlight the arches of my brows, just to attract more light and kind of make a little statement with them brows. What I'm going to do next is that whatever you do on the top lid, you kind of have to do on the bottom. Now I'm going to be taking one of the smaller detailed smudger brushes that I also showed earlier in close-up. I'm going to be taking Dreamer and Best Friend, and I'm going to concentrate this color on the outer corner on the lower lash line. I'm going to lightly dab it, work my way in, and then smudge it out. So now you can see it's actually even, it's not so top heavy. Now what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be taking Force of Nature and Wanderer from earlier, which is the colors for our transition, and I'm going to be putting this, I'm going to rest my pinky on my nose. I'm going to put this on the middle of my bottom lash line. This is kind of giving it that smoke out that's going on our eyes. Okay, so this is pretty much what a smoky eye looks like. All together, which are gonna be in a different video, I'm gonna apply my liner and my mascara, and then you can see the completed look. Okay, so I just finished applying my gel liner and my mascara, and just in case you guys end up asking, I'm just gonna answer the question now. For my mascara, I'm using Maybelline Falsies Big Eyes. I use the lower brush on this to get my lower lash line. And for my gel liner, I'll close my eyes so you guys can see it a little bit. I make my liner extremely sharp and a little bit bolder so you can see past the falsies. I use the Kylan gel liner, and I got this at IMATS last year in Toronto. And this is in the color Chocolate Mousse, so it's not too bold for daytime. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 2, focusing on eyeshadow brushes, and I hope you guys learned something and liked the look, because now you guys got a free tutorial out of it as well. And I hope you guys tune in for the next episode, episode 3 of my Makeup Back to Basics series, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!